Hello, my name is Sylvia, and I'm doing the Nerdfighter documentary thing, because I think it's awesome. How did you become a Nerdfighter? I became a Nerdfighter when I saw, I think it was one of Hank's 50 Jokes videos in the related videos for whatever video I was watching, and I was like, hey, Jokes, that looks funny. So I click on it, and I'm like, hey, this guy's kinda funny, so I watch, I'm like, wait a second, who's this other dude? So then I go back to the very beginning, and I just watch everything. And that's how I became a Nerdfighter. Have you and how did you meet Hank Green? I did meet Hank once at VidCon. I waited in line for like 2 hours. I met 3 awesome people, and then I met Hank. And then I had my camera. I was like, hey, could you say hi to my friends? And he was like, yeah, hi, friends. And then I left, and I was dressed as Dr. Horrible, and he liked my cosplay, and it was awesome. Now, I felt bad for making him sign his brother's book, though.
I hope you don't mind signing your brother's book.
I don't mind signing his book.
What is Brotherhood 2.0? Brotherhood 2.0 is a video project that started between 2 brothers, Hank and John Green, who wanted to, catch up because they haven't talked for a while, but they didn't want to do it normally, so they cut off all textual communication. No texting, no emails, no letters, and they just communicated through video blogs, which they did back and forth every weekday for a whole year in 2007. And then those video vlogs, gained a follow, and that following is now the Nerdfighters. Oh, wow, the next question was how did Nerdfighteria develop? I already answered that. Facepalm. It's hard to facepalm with a hat. While Hank and John were doing Brotherhood 2.0, people started watching, and those people eventually became known as the Nerdfighters, or the community of people that interact with each other and interact with Hank and John, and they just became this one giant community of awesome and nerdiness. Tell us about Hank's music! Okay. Hank's music is nerd-fightastic. It's filled with nerdy themes galore. He's made songs about Captain Picard, he's made songs about Harry Potter, he's made songs about science and chemistry. He just takes these things that he loves and puts them into songs. And then everybody enjoys them because it's awesome. And that's what Hank's music is. It's nerd music. It's a nerd music sandwich of explosions. What is the definition of a Nerdfighter? Well, you could go with one definition where instead of, blooded organs, our veins run with pure awesomeness. But a Nerdfighter is really just a nerd and a fan of the Vlogbrothers. In its simplest form, you're just a nerd and a fan of the Vlogbrothers. We do not fight nerds. We are fighting for nerds. Tell us a story about a Nerdfighter gathering. I've never been to a Nerdfighter gathering. Unless you count VidCon. Not everybody at VidCon is a Nerdfighter. The closest thing to a Nerdfighter gathering I've ever been to was probably the Hank Green concert at VidCon. Have you and how did you meet John Green? The same way I met Hank. There was the Green panel. I did that whole waiting in line thing, and then I went up. John was like, hey, could you sign my copy of Looking for Alaska? He was like, oh yeah, sure, what's your name? And he's looking on my, VidCon badge, like, Sylvia, so I don't want to spell your name wrong. Then I was like, hey, could you say hi to my friends, Eva and Alex?
And would it be possible for you to say hi to my friends Eva and Alex?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's not recording.
It is recording.
Oh, the light isn't on.
Yeah, I don't have the light setting
on.
on.
Hi, Eva and Alex, DFTBA! Sorry, I thought that whole video was a disaster.
What are some Nerdfighter inside jokes? Oh god, there's so many! Well, there's obviously the giraffes who love giraffes. There's the Decepticons. You know who you are. God, I'm pulling a blank on Nerdfighter jokes. The camera makes me forget things. Edward and Edwina spoon hands, had pretty hard time of it. What has Nerdfighteria done to decrease world suck and increase awesome? Nerdfighteria has done a bunch of awesome stuff. We've donated to charities. We started the Project for Awesome, which is this whole day of just fundraising for charities on YouTube. We got, it was 4 planes to help out with was it Haiti? It was Haiti. The situation in Haiti. We started the This Star Won't Go Out Foundation. We are some BAMFs at Decreasing World Suck, if I could say so myself. Tell us about John's books. John's books, they're written for the smartest audience. John doesn't just try to write something that everybody who reads it will understand. He writes to his smartest audience, so that way people who think will get them. So it's not just some meaningless story about a guy chasing a girl or a girl chasing a guy. His books have discovery and meaning to them, and finding out who you are, or dealing with loss, or figuring out and dealing with the fact that people aren't always as you see them. John just takes these intellectual concepts and puts them in this book and makes them enjoyable, and you're crying one second and laughing the next and bawling your eyes out and sitting on the edge of your seat waiting to see what'll happen next. Why do you think Nerdfighteria grew so quickly? I think Nerdfighteria grew so quickly because it was a discovery of you are not alone. No pun intended. It was this thing where you just see these guys on your computer screen, from finding them on the front page or, seeing them in a related videos column, and you watch the video and you see these guys and, they're older and they're still nerdy and they're so in love with these things that you're in love with. And you're just like, hey, I'm not alone in doing these weird things or being in love with this nerdy thing. And then you see that they have this, following, and there are other people who think the same way you do, in the same way they do, and you're just like, oh my god, this is awesome, I have to tell everybody I know about this. And it was a growing of a kindred spirit kind of thing. That's what made Nerdfighteria grow, is because we all have this connection, even if we've never talked to another Nerdfighter before. There's just this hidden connection. As soon as you hear that someone else is a Nerdfighter, you're like, oh my god, we have something in common. And that's how Nerdfighteria grew, I guess. What makes being a Nerdfighter so awesome? A lot of things make being a Nerdfighter so awesome. Like I said in the previous answer, the whole kindred spirit thing, there's just people out there that think the same way you do, and, like the same things you do. And even if you don't think the same way, it's somebody you can have an intellectual argument with, not just, some person hiding behind a computer screen going, but someone you can actually think and try to see their view. They will try to see yours. It's not being alone in your nerdiness anymore. We gathered up so many people. Whenever there's like a catastrophe or something, we help. We send money to charity. We send 4 planes into Haiti. We're nerds, we're proud of it, and we help. That's probably the best thing you could ever ask from a community of people. So you know what? Nerdfighters.